let's get into the main event for the AEW Championship. Long-awaited Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley. And first off, Cage gets into Justin Roberts' face because he didn't announce him as the FTW champion. And Justin Roberts gives him his proper introduction, and then Taz cuts a little promo. He buries Mox's promo from early and says, "Injured biceps? What are you talking about? You're mad, bro. You're mad." Brian Cage is 100%, bro. And I like this because it plays into the strategy of the match and the story the match tells.
And you have that part where it's like it's just perfectly interlaced with that previous promo. So it's like, I'm going for your bicep issue perfectly. But as we get into the match and as we go into, there's like a fast start, and then immediately Mox is just going for that arm.
I have to mention something because Cage has Mox in this fall-away slam position, and he starts curling Mox to show off. My biceps fine. I can curl you. I can even throw you over my body without doing without falling myself. Right?
Completely forgot about that.
Yeah, arms are totally fine. Sending a message out there, but like you said, Mox doesn't give a S word. Just goes for the arm. He's vicious at it.
He's just brutal. Like, he is doing arm stretches, he is doing like arm bars, he is getting into Chimera clutches, he's doing everything he can to just tear at that arm. I think one that really impressed me is that he does a tope suicida, but in the same motion he does the tope suicida into the ramp or into the side. Sorry, he manages to catch him in an arm lock, like literally a split second later, and puts more pressure into it. So he's knocked the arm into the barrier and then straight into an arm lock, and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Just fluidity in that attack. And you know what? Commentary are great about this as well. They're talking about the fact that the ref is not going to call the match on a count out. This is a title match. There's more leeway. That no one wants to see this match end on a count out. So the refs letting them just take each other around the whole ring and just do massive damage to each other.
The ref even does give them heelway for the more hardcore stuff they're doing, like the like Mox puts a barricade on the apron. But Cage slams him through it. Cage even slams him through a steel chair. That looked brutal AF. And the announcers point out, like, a street fight. This is Moxley's wheelhouse, right? But honestly, whenever they get into the more street fightish situations in a match, Cage gets the better of them.
Yeah, because there was quite a bit of like back and forth before the actual barricade gets through into him, before he does a German suplex into the barricade, which was brutal. Both guys are both trying to do something, and it just so happens that Cage gets the better of him. He just fundamentally gets the maneuvers past him and is able to do that brutal slam. It's just a devastating, what a devastating drop. But like we then get him back in the ring, and again it's more back to the fundamentals that we normally see. But we do get a surprise paradigm shift out of nowhere.
But Moxley doesn't lift him up.
No, it was kind of just more of like an underhook DDT, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Dirty Deeds DDT.
Yeah, and it doesn't get the win because it's just not enough. It's half of what it should be. You know, it's not got that great elevation. It's not got that spiky nature in it.
And like Taz warned us, Brian Cage's neck, he can just take this drop. The Dirty Deeds, the paradigm shift isn't effective against Brian Cage. And Mox goes back to game plan 1, working on the arm. And the finishing sequence is just, I think, amazing, because it's just a series of getting the cross arm breaker locked in and Cage reversing, but Moxley doesn't let go of the arm, rolls him over right back into the arm breaker. And they're doing this for like almost 2 minutes, it feels like. Yeah. It looked awesome. And the finish comes when Taz throws in the towel. Although I'm not a fan of dusty finishes, I love this finish, because it protects Brian Cage tremendously. Because Brian Cage spent so much time in this armbreaker spot. It gives off the message like he would have continued. He would have sacrificed an arm if it meant to get another opportunity to beat Moxley, to win the title in this night. And Taz, on the other hand, he protects his investment, his client, for the future.
Yeah, because he knows he's not going to get cleared to wrestle if he loses this match. Because if he knows if Moxley can break the arm or if he can tear the bicep, even if Brian Cage wants to do it, the ref's going to call the match off anyway. Like, he is going to bring it to a finish. He's going to call the match off, and then Medical is not going to clear him for a match, probably for months. So he's thinking, like, right, we take this now, we come back later. This is not done, though. We just need to preserve ourselves here. And that made sense. Like, again, not a fan of Dusty finishes myself, but you're right. This worked really well. This played into the story and played into the psychology really feckin' well. But it's not over though, because it's never over. As soon as we get a bit of calm down, we're announcing the winners of the match. Oh no, it looks like Brian is just going to lay in to Moxley and just absolutely beat the crap out of him because he's pissed off. He's angry. He didn't win that belt. He didn't get his belt. He wanted that belt, but he didn't get it.
He even uses the FTW belt to knock Moxley down as a little subtlety there.
Yeah. Just completely takes his head clean off of it. And just when we're going to see, more brutality, all we see is the ring, the arena goes black. And I'm thinking to myself, like, honestly, I wasn't sure who was going to appear here. And I felt stupid for a second, not knowing who it was. And the only reason why is because I thought to myself...
Because it was Sting! It was Sting all along!
Yeah, I thought it was Sting coming in to stop injustice. No, because, like, we've had so many releases. It's like, wait, did AEW snag up a release? Is this one of the released guys coming in? And I started getting myself excited about something that didn't happen. But no, what happened was still amazing. Darby Allin shows up. He's on the turnbuckle. He's got his skateboard in hand. A really cool customized skateboard, may I add. And he just drills Brian Cage right in it. It looked like the neck or like kind of like the bicep, but he just drills him and just starts laying into Brian Cage, getting Moxley off. And there's been that like slight uneasy truce between Darby Allin and Moxley for the last few while because even though they've had a match and whatnot together, they're still they still have a common enemy in Mr. Brian Cage and Taz is getting Brian away, and they're getting away because, he doesn't want to take 2-on-1. It's not worth it at this point. It's not worth it. Despite the fact that Brian Cage wants to do it, he wants to murder them. Taz won't let him. Taz will not let him. And even I don't think security so much tried to stop him as well, but it was like a member of production was stopping him as well, like a cameraman or something. Like, it was a really interesting choice of the second person to try and push Brian Cage back. But we have that moment where it's just out of nowhere. Surprise, I'm back! And that, I feel like, is going to build to this wonderful angle of, like, Darby Allin versus Brian Cage for the FTW Championship.
Yeah. We talked about it last week. Darby Allin teased his feud with Brian Cage there. Really cool return. He looked strong, really strong there. Brian Cage doesn't lose too much because he was just in a big match, in a grueling match with Moxley. And Moxley even gives Darby Allin this little look of recognition, kind of like, I like you, kid.
Yeah, just that like sort of like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mox approval is a subtle one at best, but it's there. But it builds for this bigger match that I think we're both really excited for, especially considering the seeds were very much planted at Double or Nothing with that ladder stunt and whatnot as well.